Are we going straight in?
When I say 7, y'all say days. Hunting for the cheese like a mouse in a maze. Been down all my life, mama thought it was a phase. Same OG, guess I'm stuck in my ways. Last night I had a dream.
Do you realize how many kids relate to that fish? Swimming upstream in class, never finding their gifts, thinking they are stupid, believing they are useless? Well, the time has come, no more excuses. I call school to the stand and accuse him of killing creativity, individuality, and being intellectually abusive. He's an ancient institution that has outlived his usage. So, Your Honor, this concludes my opening statement, and if I may present the evidence of my case, I will prove it.
Proceed.
Exhibit A. Here's a modern-day phone. Recognize it? Here's a phone from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Stay with me. Here's a car from today, and here's a car from 150 years ago. Big difference, right? Well, get this. Here's a classroom of today, and here's a class we used 150 years ago. Now, ain't that a shame? In literally more than a century, nothing has changed. Yet you claim to prepare students for the future? But with evidence like that, I must ask, do you prepare students for the future or the past? I did a background check on you and let the record show that you were made to train people to work in factories, which explains why you put students in straight rows, nice and neat, tell them sit still, raise your hand if you want to speak, give them a short break to eat, and for 8 hours a day, tell them what to think. Oh, and make them compete to get an A letter which determines product quality, hence grade A of meat. I get it. Back then, times were different. We all have a past. I myself am no Gandhi. But today, we don't need to make robot zombies. The world has progressed. And now we need people who think creatively, innovatively, critically, independently, with the ability to connect. See, every scientist will tell you that no two brains are the same. And every parent with 2 or more children will confirm that claim. So please explain why you treat students like cookie cutter frames or snapback hats, giving them this one-size-fits-all crap.
Watch your language.
Sorry, Your Honor, but if a doctor prescribed the exact same medicine to all of his patients, the results will be tragic. So many people would get sick, yet when it comes to school, this is exactly what happens, this educational malpractice.
Wow, welcome to Neutral Voices. This is the place where your voice matters. This is the voice of the people.
Yes,
and
yes,
we're going to be
yes.
talking about education.
Oh, yes.
Man.
And that was a powerful video. So we wanted to start off with some power
Wow.
that touches on a lot of different issues in the school system.
Yes, yes. Oh, man, that was an amazing
He
video.
touched on
That
some
guy,
stuff.
if you haven't seen his other videos,
Yes.
yeah, so he's amazing in the way. I know one of the videos I watched was the principal viewing
Uh-huh.
the video and
Yeah.
reacting to it, and
Right.
then there was one with the students reacting. So you'll have to check those out.
Yeah, and the
But-
gentleman's name is Prince EA.
Well-
That's where you can find him. He's Prince EA.
Make sure you check him out.
But that video, just like our opening video yesterday, was so heavy and it had so much content.
Yes.
The one thing that stuck out to me is that in 150 years, there's been no adjustment in the educational system. Everything else has progressed, but the
Yes.
educational system. Why
Right.
is that?
Yes and no. I mean, but I understand exactly where he's coming from. But when I look at the progress, or if I had to do my own comparison, so I'm looking at the size of the classroom. That was something that's obviously been the same.
Right.
But what I see that's different is that now the students are working on iPads and their phones a lot more in schools.
Well, that's because with the COVID and a lot of the students
Well,
are homeschooled.
even before
because
that.
before, and you got your e-learning. So,
Exactly. So I'm just saying, so acknowledging
different.
that.
It's a difference, but it's the same. I said,
Well-
I mean, I know you a teacher.
Yes.
And
So for
okay.
me, it feels totally different because
Well,
way back then, you couldn't have brought a phone in class. We
I
didn't have
agree.
that.
I agree
Yeah.
with that.
And so I'm saying, so I'm having to deal with that. That's an argument, a fight, you know,
Right.
some days. And then the iPad and, you know, then the technology dropping when you need it. And
Yes.
so all of that different stuff. So I'm just acknowledging that some of those things have changed. So,
I will give you that point.
yes.
But the philosophy
Yeah,
And-
I was
and
about
that's
to
what I
say the
said.
same
So I
thing.
understand
the
that part.
philosophy of
Has
it's
not
just-
changed.
it has not changed at all.
Okay, so, you know, he talked a little bit about the lecturing part. So how do you guys feel about the teachers in the school lecturing, and how much is too much, and what do you think should happen
Actually,
with that?
when you go to college, that's a lot of your classes are lecture classes.
Okay.
So that's one thing you have to adjust to.
Okay, now, so I'm glad you said it that way, because a lot of people, even the higher ups, don't believe that a student can stay focused more than 5 minutes before they start veering off. And actually, some adults may be like that.
Well, the thing about it, did they go to college?
Well, and my point is, if you're supposed to be preparing them for college, let's just say, if they're going,
correct,
then that's not really going to help them, because when they get to college, they're going to go in shock, because they're going to have 2 hour
2 hour lecture class.
lecture and won't be able to stay woke.
Well, here's where I have a problem with lecturing, because you have to do it in increments.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Like think about it. Your normal child, you're teaching your normal child. You might talk to him for 5 minutes, but then you show him, like cooking. You know, if you're teaching a child how to cook, you'll tell him you need to add salt, you need to add pepper, but then you'll show him, you'll go in and you'll stir and you'll show him how to do that. So it has to be a balance. No, it can't be all lecturing, and no, it can't be all hands-on. It has to be a balance. But I think a lot of teachers are overwhelmed and they try to take the quickest way to reach them, and that's lecturing. I told them, but they didn't get it. And I feel bad for teachers sometimes, because they're under that gun just to disseminate the information and not to make sure that people are learning.
Well, that's right. But you know what? Before you do that and I lose what he just said.
I was about to go with it.
Okay. Well, I just want to say, from a teacher's perspective, you know, that's not always the easy route. But what I will say is, sometimes if you don't cover it, the students may never get it, because to trust that they're going to go home and read it themselves, it's not likely. Not all students, but understanding all students are not the same.
Correct.
But you said something that was powerful, not all at one time. So I do believe in increments, and I believe in what I call brain breaks.
Right.
And so I'll stop and do something else, redirect, and then I'll come back to it.
Right.
I'll even have another student interpret what I just said, and then we'll keep moving. So I do something to, try to change the atmosphere.
Right, and that's how it's going to be. Go ahead.
Yes.
Well, one thing that's wrong with lecturing is, like me, I'm a hands-on person.
Mm-hmm.
So lecturing, yes, I can follow, pay attention, take good notes, but I learn better if I'm actually doing what
involved.
I need to do. Yeah. So that's one thing that was a shocker to me when I left and went to college. It was like, wait a minute, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Right.
I got 60 people in this classroom, and I'm just sitting here listening to this man rumble.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think of that from that perspective too. So when you say that, and I remember seeing something at one point, it was like, teach me and I'll learn, but involve me and I'll master it, or something like that. I mean, so I definitely agree with that.
And so you have to, even in high school, you have to adjust to that child and not think that every child can learn the same way.
Because we mentioned last night we had an awesome conversation about education, and we talked about equality versus fairness. And so when you say that, you just kind of make me think about what we shared about that. But as far as the students in the classroom, what happens when you have that student and you know that they are not going to open that textbook once they get home? Not only that, but the parent is not going to hold them accountable. So what, you feel like, and last night you mentioned handcuffs on the teacher hands.
Yeah.
So at that point, you don't know what to do, because they come against you if you lecture, and it's like they come against you if you don't. So what is a teacher to do?
Right. Well, I look at it. I look at it like this: teachers are on the ground level; they're in the front line, and the people that's in the higher ups is not on front line. They could, just because you come in my classroom and watch me for 10, 15 minutes and have your little say so. Stand in that classroom, you actually teach that class, then you can understand what really goes on, how these kids or some of the kids need to be taught.
That's right. So when you're talking about that, you're talking about the different little evaluations and snapshots that teachers have to endure.
I mean, that's not fair to the teacher at all, because now you put them under a restriction. If you do not put a teacher under a restriction, I guarantee a lot of these teachers will have a better outcome in their class.
I agree with that.
I agree. I totally agree.
Because way back in the days, and I don't know how far back, but I've been in the system since '96, and this is new. So they didn't have that way back then. And I'm sure something happened. Somebody abused some privileges or kicked their feet up and read the newspaper or something.
I think that was an overall thing. Because think
Yeah.
about where Bush put the No Child Left Behind. They blamed it on the teachers in the getting the learning. So I think a lot of that, they blame the teachers for the children not learning and things. Teachers were supposedly not doing their job. So I think a lot of that came from that.
Yes.
So
that's why I said
feel
something
bad
happened.
for teachers. Yes.
You have to do like this. You can't just hold the teacher accountable. And
That's
that's one thing. That's one thing that I do see. You know, everybody want to hold their teacher accountable.
Yes.
First and foremost, the first part of learning of a child starts at home.
Yes. And that's what
So-
we
That's
covered
true.
real good
Yes,
last
that's
night.
true.
And I love that.
It needs to start at home.
It should.
And then on top of that, your parents, we need to be more involved.
Yes.
And that's the key thing. Parents in being involved of their child's education. No, my mom was all over me. You walk in the
my
house,
mother was too.
you walk in the house with anything under a C+, it was a problem.
Or when you just said walk in the house, you walked in the house and you addressed your homework first.
Right.
But they want to know,
Yeah.
do you have homework? And I get it. Parents are working more and more hours and maybe 2 jobs.
Yeah, and I
But
get that
still
too.
having some accountability. When I get home, I want to see your homework laying out on the counter.
Yeah,
so I
and
can
that
look
was
at
the
it before I go to bed,
Yeah.
or something.
Or
have
you
to
let
do
me
that.
let me check it in the morning.
Exactly. Anything. So, but
Yeah.
you have to pay attention and stay in touch with your child's
see,
learning.
nowadays
This
with-
is Neutral Voices, and this is Voice of the People. And I would like to know if we have any comments so we can get into it. This night is all about the comments
Yes, your voice.
from our people. So
We wanna
let's
hear
see,
from
what are
you.
you guys talking about? Yes. Here we go.
Here we go. We got to do
Technology, I love it.
And that's the craziest part about technology. My
Yeah.
daughter showed me something,
Mhm.
and I had to put it on front sheet. But she showed me an algebra question, and
Mhm.
all she did was put her iPhone up to it, and
It answered it?
it did the work.
The
And
equation.
Man, that's not
Wow.
learning. That's not
See?
learning.
Okay, here we go. We have some comments, Miss Mildred. Yes. What about these kids that are visual learners in this season? Ooh, that's a good point.
Well, and that's why I say you got to mix it up because you have all of those in your classrooms. Teachers got to know it's not an exact science, it's not an exact formula, but I think that, and even when you are being trained in some seminars, as I know y'all go through regularly, there should be covered. Okay, spend X amount of minutes video, X amount of minute lecturing, X amount of
That's
minutes
right.
hands-on. They have
Yes.
y'all have those breakdowns
Yes.
and things like that. Because there are visual learners. There are people, unlike E, where he said he needed hands-on. I learned that you only need to hear it once before you should know what they're talking about. My mother used
And
to always
see,
tell me,
and-
don't make me tell you twice.
Well,
So
see, that was your
made me-
upbringing that had you like
You
that.
had scared.
Now
learning.
watch this. Right. I was going to say you were
Scared
scared
learning.
into learning.
You scared
But, you
learning.
know, for me, this is just something that I live by. The first time I read something, it's just information.
Right,
Words on paper.
right.
The second time I read it is illumination.
Right.
I got something out of it. I understood it a little bit better. But then the third time I read through it and I'm highlighting, etc., it becomes revelation.
Yes.
Now I can relate
Yes.
some things to myself or somebody I know. So that third time, I mean, it just works. And that's one of the things I talk to my students about. But yeah, so thank you, Miss Mildred, for that comment. Anything else you want to add to that?
But yeah, that's true. But I also think that it's a society thing and not just educational. We need to stop depending on screen hours to educate, let our children learn. I mean, they're not getting that human interaction as well. The whole system of education needs a microscopic look. Find out
Okay.
what's working. It needs to be diagnosed because some of the things are probably antiquated that,
And
don't work. And some of the things we need to bring in.
I agree. And I was going to
Yeah.
say, so to individualize it, I know some of my students, I have them, when I'm demonstrating certain things, I have them come up with their telephones so that they can record me. And so that's what teachers need to do more, open it up for those students that may need to record. That way they can go home and look at it over and over and over.
Let me
So,
get this one.
Here's
It
this.
says, my name is Tommy. It's Black History Month, and I want information on what you all think of racism in the educational system. Oh, we talked about that last night.
Mhm.
Yes,
Now-
sir.
We have to, first and foremost, realize that every system that was built in America was built on racist principles.
Talk
And I
about
say this because there was a time where we as a culture could not be educated. If we were reading, we could
would
be
get
killed.
I was going to say, yeah. It could
So
cost you.
education was not meant for us when the founding things were founded. So yes, there is still racism. We hit a little video about redlining, where the property taxes handicapped education because the land couldn't be bought, the taxes couldn't be collected, or it was devalued that they couldn't send the money into the school system.
Correct.
Even some of the curriculums, like Black History. There's not a lot of Black History. And there shouldn't be Black history. Let's talk about that. Because you cannot separate the Black history from history. History is history.
Right. I was
period.
going to say, don't you think it would be amazing if we just had cultural history, just cultural literacy period across the board, and we were learning about all different cultures.
But see, you
their
said
past.
you said something last week that makes a lot of sense. Who has the pen
writes the story.
Writes the story.
Yeah.
So
unfortunately.
yeah.
that's the
So
way
we need to
works.
start grabbing the pen.
Yeah, because we have somebody else narrating our story.
They
Hey, we have
can't
another
narrate
video. Thank you so much for the comments. And we're going to watch this video and we'll get back to some more comments. Voice of the people. Watch with us.
When someone says your daughter has a reading disability, your son has a math disability, he's retarded, autistic, emotionally disturbed, ADHD, that's an opinion. It's not a fact. You can't prove it. If you ever go to a meeting and somebody tells you your son has a reading disability, prove to me that my son has a reading. Well, according to the test, what? The test only tells you where he scored. The test don't tell you what he is. Exactly.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
That's
Great.
a great
Okay,
point.
now I'm sure you guys all agree with Dr. Umar.
Yes. First and foremost. And I got questioned about my views. Now, I do not disagree with everything Dr. Umar Johnson says. I just sometimes have
You just
disagreement
scared.
with
You
how
just scared.
he said. No, I'm
He
not
may
scared.
come for you.
No, let him come. Let him come. But here's the thing: the ADHD thing, that is the most thing that hindered education in the last 50, 60 years.
Okay.
If you look at it, ADHD or ADD, whatever that diagnosis is, has been refuted many, many times. But how that got into the school system is the big pharma companies, they use school systems as testing grounds. And what better diagnose to test the Ritalin, the Adderall, and all that. I'm going to tell you, your kid can't come to school because he's not sitting still. So your kid can't come to school until you get him on his medication.
And pause real quick. And the parents bought into it. I just wanted to say that.
Parents bought into it. Because what choice? You going to keep your kid at home all day? So
another school.
But then you're going to get in trouble for not having your kid in school. Then you
I don't have to have my kid in school and you got them drugged up all day. I can try to find another school that will work with my kids' ability and skill level.
But it's in what he said.
Or
and
disability.
It's all a funding issue. Because if you look at it, dealing with foster care, it's a difference. If you are a foster to a child with special needs, you get a bigger lump sum. That's the same in the school system. If you can have more special needs, and also when they put more people in special ed and special needs, that lowers the expectation levels of the schools. So
wait. Pause, because you're saying some good stuff. So you talking fast, I'm listening slow, but I want to make sure I got this. Are you saying that they get more money if they have children with special needs in that school?
Yes.
Okay.
The more special needs, the more funding.
So
more money.
In all actually,
and then we're going to go to the comments. But also, if they got more special needs or special ed, the expectations of that school or that school district decreases.
Yes.
So that makes it harder for when the standard is here and they got it at Homestead and they're reaching that standard.
Yeah.
So those Homestead kids are going to go to college.
Oh, yeah.
But these kids at Southside, when the expectations here.
But guess what? Before you say that, and then the teachers at those schools look like they are better teachers than the teachers over here that's teaching those students that's more challenged.
Right.
Okay.
Well, see here, like you said, the special needs. They put people in special needs classes for no apparent reason. Half of the time, all that child needs is another style of teaching.
Right.
It's not special,
that's
just another style
of teaching, because they have a different style of learning.
Yeah,
you are absolutely right.
And they do not want to the teachers, a lot of teachers do
You
not
are-
want to play with that.
That's right. That's good. We have another comment. Miss Laura, how are you?
Hey, Miss Laura.
Yes. So that's why it was good to have shop classes, automotive classes, home economics, life skills, hands-on classes, and hands down. I agree with that.
Yeah.
And see,
Yes,
they took that,
I
out, they
applaud
took that
that.
out of the
Yes.
schools.
Yes.
And a lot of kids are lost now.
Yeah, and we talked about that. And Miss Laura, honey, they getting ready to do it again. They actually getting ready to put the axe to some more career tech schools or programs. So
And see, that's
yeah, so y'all be looking for that so y'all can fight with us.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes.
Yes.
So do I have another comment? So let's do this one. D-Rock speaking. Okay. So first off, how y'all doing? We're doing good. Secondly, we going to a predominantly white high school, Woodland. I feel like I'm taught different than when I was back at Harding, a predominantly black middle school.
I said that
What do y'all
yesterday.
think about
I
that?
said that yesterday, and I stand on it.
Mhm.
There's 3 black private schools in Fort Wayne, and I don't know the enrollment amount or the attendance level, but I know it's not where it should be.
Mhm.
I agree that we should have people that look like us, that understand us, that work like us, that have been through some of the things that we need. Those teachers, we need those schools. Now, I'm not saying white people can't teach black people. I'm not saying that. There should be some diversity, but we should have a solid educational footing for our community in this city, and we should support it.
That's right.
I mean, every other city got them. Why don't we have them here? We have 3,
Mhm.
and I don't know the enrollment. I can't say that they have an enrollment, of this many or that many. Why I can't say that? Because we don't see that.
Right. Yeah. Well, good. Another comment. Awesome comment. Thank you, D-Rock. Okay, Ms. Mildred, as a parent in this season, I see teachers working so hard to manage virtual learning and technology, and parents still being absent in their children's education. That is a problem. That is a true statement.
A lot of the
It's
kids,
unfair.
a lot of the parents are at work.
A lot of parents at work.
No.
I
Hold
mean,
on.
that may be true, but and then some students don't know how to work the technology. I mean,
Yeah.
some parents don't.
Yeah,
Yeah.
parents
To
don't know
help
how to
their
work the
students.
technology.
But here's another problem. I've seen on many social media, they sending these clips where there's parents smoking blunts in the background,
Whoa. Okay.
just doing other things, yelling and cussing at their kids, having conversation, not engaging in that kid's
I was looking
education.
Wait, why
Other
the kid
side.
on Zoom?
Why the
Yeah,
kids
kid
on
on Zoom.
Zoom?
Yeah,
Whoa.
Instead of finding out and I understand parents have lives too, but I understand at that point in time, when your child's in your presence,
Yes.
you don't know what that child's watching on. So you should be in tune.
Checking it out. It's okay to stop by and look.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, a lot of these. I mean, I was looking at it on the brighter side, Clarence. So you wouldn't let me do that. So I was just trying to do
It's
it on the
okay
brighter
to be
side.
on the brighter side. You can stay on the brighter
You can stay
side.
on
We're
the
going to
brighter
take a
side.
trip over here and watch this video. We have another video because our time is moving fast. This is Neutral Voices, the voice of the people. We have another video. Do we have it ready, guys?
I definitely can recognize what you're talking about when you say that, because I was in a school with a lot of brothers that's in the NFL right now to this day, and they had to be in special education classes.
And the reason the coach influenced the school to put them in special ed classes is in special education, you're not graded based on how much you learn. I want to get this right. I want you to get this. In special education, you are not graded based on how much you learn. You are graded based on how much you try. I need y'all to get this. Let me give you an example. You're in the 5th grade, you come home with all A's and B's, honor roll. He's in the 5th grade, you come home with all A's and B's, honor roll. You're regular ed. Your A's and B's mean you have achieved and mastered grade level expectations.
Right.
Yours don't mean that. You have an IEP, incarceration education program. So your A's and B's only mean that given the effort you put in trying to improve, we're going to give you A's and B's. You didn't master nothing. You still on the 1st grade level. You can still barely read. So what you doing on the
Wow, they're so heartless. It makes my heart sad.
Well, I mean, that I have
I'm
to
just-
agree. He does.
Are you familiar with the IEPs?
Yes, but I like how he phrased it. What? Give us really what an IEP is.
I'm not even talking about that. I'm just sad because, really when you look at the IEPs, I'm just saying, so sometimes what you see on there is that child needs more time to take the same test.
Right.
Or that the child, he may need somebody to read the test to him.
Right.
And so I'm saying, I just hate that. I mean, I don't know. That just sounds so cold-hearted.
Well, Dr. V, I'm gonna be funny, but I'm not being funny. But I need to make it tangible for you to understand.
Man.
You just said how you learn. You would have an IEP right now.
Yeah.
Seriously,
Mm-hmm.
because you said first of all you got to read it one time just to get the information.
No, I'm saying for me.
Yeah, but you would have an IEP because obviously you're not retaining the information we're giving to you.
If you just read it the first time, it's just a whole bunch of words on the paper.
So you have a learning disability.
That's facts. Read a Bible scripture and see what happens.
That's a learning disability, Dr. V. If
Says
I'm
who?
looking at it, that's what they're saying on these IEPs.
Says
these IEPs, if you don't learn it or can't understand it on your first reading, you have a learning disability. Either you're not reading or you're not comprehending. So you would have an IEP.
Well, my GPA is good.
But
I take it.
Hold on.
I take it. I know he said he'd put him on the honor roll,
IEP,
but
your grades don't mean
that's
anything.
That's if you are. Now watch this. The truth is, in the school system, one thing that is a negative is that some teachers don't even allow the IEP to come to the surface.
Yeah.
They don't even look for the IEP, let alone know what the IEP is. So they're not using the IEP, and the student is really jacked up and failing. So that's a bad thing. And guess what? Some parents don't even look to see if the teacher is using an IEP before they give their child a D. Now, that's just the truth.
Yeah.
So parents need to engage. Now, watch this. Some of the IEPs that I have read are from the 7th, 6th, 5th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and parents didn't step up to say, guess what? We need to get a new one, or we're no longer using that. I want them to try harder. None of that. So who do you blame?
You blame the parent.
Okay, so I keep saying you hate to do it, but the truth is the truth. I'm in the system, and they do not step up, and I'm reading these old IEPs.
But on the flip side of that, but go ahead.
I mean, you have to understand, I have a learning disability, and I don't have a problem with saying I do.
Right.
My mom made sure that I got what I needed.
Okay.
Because she couldn't figure out why I wasn't moving like other students.
Exactly.
And then once they found out, I had a teacher, matter of fact, it was my 7th grade teacher. And she broke it down. She said, you don't actually have a learning disability.
Okay.
You just learn different. It takes you a different way. I had to show you a different way how to do something.
Right.
Versus doing it everybody else.
You had a great teacher.
Yeah, I had a teacher that sat down and explained it to me because, I had low self-esteem. I'm playing basketball, and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, she taught me how to stay up with the rest of the...
Yeah, how to do better.
Yeah.
So, yeah,
and I'm in the class with the regular students, and I'm banging out with them.
Yes, you had a great teacher.
Yes,
yes.
and that's what we need.
To.
But also with the IEP, Dr. V, I fought the school system.
Yes.
Because as you passing that child along, you should be able to continue to upgrade and gauge that child's progress.
I do say that too, but if the parent is okay with leaving it there from the 8th grade.
But the school system shouldn't be.
I know, but together. See, remember I talked about that yesterday.
Yes.
We need to work together. The parent, the teacher, and the child.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we have a problem.
Well, I mean,
let me just check on the people. This is Neutral Voices, Voice of the People. All about you. Do we have any more comments before we get to this video? So, okay, we'll check on some comments here in a second. Let's watch this video real quick before we're out of here.
Special education is welfare. Because whenever you put a child in special ed, you get paid. Wow. And you get paid every year they in special ed. And the special ed kids are worth twice as much as the regular kids. Let me give you an example. Let's say hypothetically in Cleveland, Ohio, they spend $8,000 a year per child. The minute you end up in special ed, somebody said you autistic, learning disabled, emotionally disturbed, intellectually disabled, ADHD, speech and language, deafness, blindness, brain injury, developmental delay, orthopedic impairment, multiple disability. There's 13 special ed categories federally. Once somebody slap you with a label and say you need special ed, your name goes into the computer, that gets transferred to the State Department of Education in Columbus. And by the end of the month, there's an electronic transfer of funds to the school. This is a welfare check. Special ed is a hustle. Special ed is a racket. Special ed is a business of making money off black kids you know you never taught.
Wow.
Wow.
He just knows so much. I'm just so impressed by the way he flipped that and just ran it down because, I mean, that was a lot to come out. But so the welfare, wow. Did he say they pimping the kids?
Yeah,
they're pimping the kids all day long.
I mean, think about it. It is what it is. I mean, you do what you do, and it's sad.
It is.
But where you said it's more sad that parents, communities, and we accept it, and we don't try to go in and change it. We don't try to find a way. Not everybody is special. Now, all of us, like you say, all of us learn differently. All of us have things that you know. Now, I can recite and tell you do math problems left and right, upside and down, but I have trouble spelling.
Okay.
But again,
yes,
if they found that out, I was having IEP, and that's the problem.
Yeah, because you done gave me a whole IEP in here today.
Google, Dr. V.
Google, you got an IEP?
I can spell, but sometimes it doesn't come out right.
I just don't even have time to read Claire's IEP or go through mine. We got some more comments. This is the voice of the people. We got some comments we're going to get to, but we're going to let Dr. Umar say something else to us. So go ahead, Doc.
Who don't have the score. Because listen, one more. They designed the test. I need you to get this. The tests are designed so black children fail. Now, you might ask the question, how the hell can you make a test that black kids fail and white kids pass? Because in testing, there's a process called standardization. Okay. Standardization means before we give out the final version, we already tested every question on your test. Let me say it again. Every test, when they give out the Ohio State assessment, you may have never seen before. But this black boy, your age, your grade, your background, who were given that test already. It's called standardization. They sample the items, so they already know which questions the black kid's gonna get wrong. They already know which questions the white kid's gonna get wrong. They already know which questions the Chinese kids are gonna get right. Listen, I participated in standardization. They call you up. I did it with the Wechsler Intelligence Scale for Children, 4th edition. I was a part of the team. They call you up and they say, we need 4 black boys between 3 and 5, single mother household. We need 8 black boys, parents married, $40,000 income. We need 2 12-year-olds, father must be incarcerated. They leave nothing to chance. They hit every possible demographic. And guess what our job is to do? What? Test the questions. And then we send the answers back. And then at the main headquarters, they look at the test items that the black kids got right. They look at test items that the white kids got right. How you think they decide which items go into the final test? The ones we got wrong go in the final test. And the ones the right kids got right go in the final test. What am I telling you? I'm telling you, they already know what we're going to score. They already know. Because not only did they not teach it, they already tested the items. When you get your test, that's not the first time they gave it to you. Right. They don't leave it to chance. So let me tell you why. This is why they can't leave it to chance. Because the only thing that justifies white people getting the opportunity over you, him, me, you, and him is the fact that they outscore us. Let me ask you a question. Let's say, and this is test time right now, right? So let's say every black boy in Ohio in the 5th grade outscores every white boy in Ohio in the 5th grade. You know what that does? That upsets the whole white supremacy power structure. Because now, how do you explain so few black doctors, so many white ones? How do you explain one black man in the engineering program? If the black boys are smarter than the white ones, if they are in the white ones, shouldn't it be more black men in the, you see what I'm saying? So the tests must show black kids are inferior. Because the minute the test shows that we are superior, it upsets their entire social hierarchy.
Well, and that is the reason we let Dr. Umar do what he does, because he researches and he was a part of that team and nobody could explain it as good as he just did.
I mean, standardized testing has always been a question, Dr.
Yes.
You even know this.
Yes.
I know a few years ago, teachers were getting dinged and everything because their kids,
Couldn't
they
score
come in
certain-
from a summer break and they want these kids to do these
Be
eye
ready
steps.
for the that's right.
And then they spend the whole end of the year teaching the eye step, so they don't teach anything else.
Yes.
It was a testing fiasco. And I think they ended up ending the eye step. Am I correct? Do they no longer do the
They
eye
still
step?
do it. My students were just taking it this week.
Yeah, my daughter said.
They taking the
Yeah.
eye step?
Yeah.
I thought they were going to get rid of
They
it.
were doing something with it.
But truthfully, standardized testing is exactly that. It's a standard, but it's not a standard in education. So
Yeah.
how you going to standardize something that's
Hey.
not standard?
He gave you a lot to think about,
Do
and
they,
I
do they still do the
I-
or do they still do the test in high school where you have to test out of high school?
The graduation test,
The
what was
graduation
that?
test.
The,
I don't think do they do that? They do some other tests. I don't know what
was that called?
Was it the ACT or the,
No,
No,
the
not-
one to make
Yeah.
sure you graduate.
the SPAT?
Yeah.
all these letters A B C D F G.
Yeah.
But this is envy, and we do have one more comment we would like to get to.
Hey, Laura.
Laura, that's
what's
great
up?
because we
Laura.
need more skilled young folks coming up in the future. And we do. I agree with you. Plumbing, sheet metal, electrical, carpenters, skilled trades. Yes, yes, yes. And cosmetologists and
Yes.
barbers, because
Yes.
that's the
Yes.
place where we fix people.
Yes.
Well,
One
see,
more.
So when people sit down in our chair, people got to stop thinking
Preach.
hair.
Preach.
When we save lives, we raise families. We talk to women about domestic violence, and we save people from
Preach.
committing suicide. They got to stop messing with us. It's more than just hair, right?
More than just hair. Go
Yes,
ahead.
it's more than just hair.
I ain't
And
got
then
no
this
hair.
is our last comment. Growing up, Miss Mildred, growing up in New York City, I saw that a lot of passing students without having the ability to read. Yes.
Yes, that's sad.
Yeah, that's
It's
okay.
fast. It's passive.
Yes, that is crazy.
Well,
I tell you. And then with this one, let's do this one too as we get ready to close. With the salaries teacher, oh honey, did you go there? With the salaries teachers get, who wants to go to college in our Black communities to become teachers? They can barely survive living paycheck to paycheck. Girl, you
Amen.
better say something and
Amen.
pass the bucket and take up a collection from me, honey.
Amen. Amen.
Yes.
I feel you.
Hey,
I
this
feel
is
you.
Neutral Voices. We want to leave you with some powerful statements and comments about our community.
All right. Now, I know our discussion was about education, and we normally leave you with a comment or something about education or an inspiring word about that. But tonight, I can't do that. Tonight, E and I went to the vigil across the street, and D-Rock went with
Education.
us for the three young men. Two of them died, and one of them is recovering now.
Recovering now.
But here, Fort Wayne, everybody in Fort Wayne, everybody in the political structure, whoever, the powers that be, we cannot get this wrong. We cannot get this wrong. These were three innocent children. Let's get this
Yes,
right.
yes.
A grown man killed three innocent children, well, killed two innocent children and shot a third. Children. Children. Fort Wayne, we can't get this wrong. We cannot get this wrong. If we do, it's a miscarriage of justice. We say justice is fair. Prove it. Prove it. And now, and there was murmuring about this man's mental state that's going to come out and kind of, I don't care about his mental state. He was
right.
functional enough and smart enough and coherent enough to leave, come back, and
Yes.
shoot these three children.
Yes,
Fort Wayne, we can't get this wrong.
that's right.
We cannot get this wrong.
Mhm.
We got to get this right.
Yes.
There's no way we can let this go. There's no way we can justify it. There's no way we can water it down.
And let him get away.
Let
with
him get away.
with a plea bargain.
There's nothing we can do.
That's
I
what's
mean, they got one wrong, and I'm gonna honestly say the guy that murdered my buddy Marcus at Walmart. They
Yes,
gave him,
Walker.
yeah, they gave
Yes.
him less time, talking about because he had a mental illness,
And these are
and this is an innocent man. He had children. He ran the guy over, then beat him with a bat, then left.
and so these are the young
Yeah,
men.
the
But
young
these
man-
are the young men.
The young man that
Names.
passed was Josh Cooper. He was 19. Anderson
Joshua
Reddick
Cole.
was 19.
Cooper.
And I think Jalen, I don't know what Jalen's last name is. Jalen is in a hospital. He's recovering. But here's what I'm saying, Fort Wayne. I'm saying people in Fort Wayne.
Right.
Jalen Rice. I'm saying people in Fort Wayne. We got to push this. We can't let this go.
That's right.
We can't let this fall. We
That's
can't
right.
just wait for the outcome. We gotta push this.
You're
These
right.
are 3 children that were
Yes.
innocent. And I guarantee had they had found one thing, because I don't think it was reported there was no gun found on them, there was no drugs found
No,
on
there
them.
was
So
anything.
you can't say
That's
that it was something out of the way.
But did they have a candy bar? Because you know that's what they using now.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
I'm
I don't
sorry.
care.
That's
there
it.
was nothing that these
Yes.
young men did
Yes.
at that particular time for
Yeah.
them to lose their lives. Fort Wayne, we can't get this wrong. Let's make this
Cannot
happen.
get this
Let's
wrong.
make this right.
Absolutely. And let's continue to pray for Jalen Rice. This is Neutral Voices, and we will see you next time. We'll be here Friday for Randomonium.
When I say 7, y'all say days. Hunting for the cheese like a mouse in a maze. Been down all my life, mama thought it was a phase. Same OG, guess I'm stuck in my ways. Last night I had a dream.